Erev Tov to the
Erev Tov.
This is the time when in a Reform service there is a sermon. This time it's going to be a sermon on song. And I want briefly to discuss with you the heritage of Lewandowski, of Louis Lewandowski. In your program notes, there are a few notes compiled by David Berger about his biography. And I will just say a few words in supplement of that. Louis Lewandowski was born in Russian Poland. And there was such a thing at his time. He was a son of a Baal Tfilah, not a professional cantor. And after his mother's death, when he was about Bar Mitzvah, he moved to Berlin and started his career as a singer, that means a small singer, at the choir of the old synagogue in Heinreuter Gasse, which does not exist anymore. And he served as the discount. He sang the discount, the higher voice of the compositions which were largely improvised. It so happened that everybody in his time were very much, the entire Jewish world was of the Ashkenazi movement, was really impressed by the new music of Salomon Sulzer. Salomon Sulzer was the great revolutionary of cantorial music. He was in Vienna. He had a fantastic voice, and he had a great choir, and Jews and non-Jews alike used to go and hear him. On Friday nights, the synagogue in Vienna was fuller than the opera. And this style captured the imagination of many people, and so the community of Berlin requested that Shir Zion, the newly published music of Sulzer, be sent to them in order to emulate that style. Unfortunately, the music was written in old medieval clefs, and none of the choir members could read the music. The cacophony was terrible, and they thought that the music was worthless. Then they were reminded of young Lewandowski, who at that time started studying at the Hochschule für Musik in Berlin. He was the first Jew to be admitted there, and he was sponsored by the Mendelssohn family, not Felix Mendelssohn, but his cousin. And they called Lewandowski to decipher the music for them. And so he became the choir master at a very young age in Berlin. Then he started writing himself, but he never ever performed his own music until 1866, when the new synagogue was inaugurated, the new synagogue in Oranienburger Straße, which exists until today in part. Only the facade really exists. It was a huge synagogue, the largest in Germany at that time, with an excellent choir, an organ that was third in Europe in its size and magnificence. And then he started showing his compositions to the choir and performing them in the synagogue. Very soon, he became the most prominent composer of the liberal synagogues in Europe. He knew Hebrew very, very well. He knew the old style quite well, and especially since his collaboration with some Chazanim who came from Eastern Europe and sang in the Berlin synagogue. But above all, he knew how to write for a choir with grace, with beauty, and in the romantic musical tradition, which was very heavily influenced by Felix Mendelssohn and other composers of his caliber. It is a great pleasure to sing Lewandowski's music. He writes for voices in inimitable way. And his spirit is really that of the emancipation of the 19th century, full of optimism. The music is behadrat Kodesh, with the glory of holiness. And usually he said texts like that. Less texts which are imploring, more texts which are glorification. So now I would like to call upon our Hallel choir to sing his very famous Lecha Dodi for Friday night, or the service of Friday night.